Reverend Don, it's 2 o'clock. Would you mind giving an invocation?
I can. I might say to you fellows that it's a pleasure to be here to pray today. I just saw something just about 5 minutes ago. I just wanted to share with you to begin my prayer. A fellow named Tom Rose said this. Said, it is impossible either to produce or sustain a Republican form of government of limited powers apart from the theology of the Bible. The biblical view of man, and this alone, was the essence of America's greatness in the past. This alone is the hope of America's greatness in the future. I just want to pray for that today. Let's pray. Father, we're thankful for this time we have to come and gather together. We're thankful, Father, for the freedom that we have in this country to meet in this way, to conduct the business of the community. And I pray, Father, for a prayer of thanks for what you have done for us through the years. Great ideas, great men, great Bible that we can follow each and every day that will lead us along life's path. We're thankful, Father, for the Holy Spirit that leads us along in that way, and we're also thankful, Father, for your Son, Jesus, who provided for us a way of salvation, a way that we can live abundantly here on this earth, but also look forward to an eternal life with you. This be with these fellows now as they meet. In Christ's name I do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
This May 4th meeting of the County Commissioners is now in session. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you today. We'll start out with the minutes of our April 20 meeting. Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes of our last meeting, guys?
I'll move to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the last meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Get that stuff started down. Okay, first thing on our agenda today is we need to approve the quarterly transit claim for the Fayette County Council on Aging and Aged for transportation for $75,148. Julissa normally is here for this, but she's not able to be here today.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Mark to approve the transportation claim for this quarter and the amount of $75,148. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, 3 ayes. Okay. Do we need to sign this, Jane?
Yes,
For her?
you do.
Just one signature?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Don't lose that.
Okay.
Okay. Community Corrections, Michelle Dudley.
First thing is, last week I received an award letter from the Department of Correction, which extends the grant through the end of the year, so it would be just another 6 months, doubling everything. We have to redo those budgets to reflect that, and they have to be sent back in to the Department of Correction by May the 10th. And along with that, the other requirements of the grant where the commissioners approve it I have to have another letter that you guys have approved the continuing of the grant through December 31st of 2021. And so I would need a motion for that. And I've prepared the letter, and I believe Jane has a copy for, yes. That has to go in with the grant.
Okay, this is Michelle's letter we have to approve to go in with her grant. So your funding rate is staying static
Yes.
for the rest of the year?
Through the end of the year, which brings the first award for community corrections was $293,579, and doubling it, it'll go to $587,158. The drug court was $62,512.50, taking it to $125,025. Probation was $87,967.50, and it goes to $175,935. Prosecutor diversion was $22,376.50, and it will go to $44,753. Jail treatment was $92,495.50, and it goes to $184,991. So the total grant from the DOC is $1,117,862.
Okay.
And I forwarded you through email last week a copy of the award letter.
Yes, I did read that. So all you need today is for the commissioners to approve me putting my signature on this cover letter for you to send out.
Yes.
I'll move to approve the grant application form.
Okay, we have a motion by Mark, second by Dale, to authorize the signing this letter for Community Corrections Grant. Is there any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you.
I'll take care of that right now, Michelle.
All right. The other issue is I am still in need of part-time facility officer, and I forwarded you a copy of the application for James Isaacs, and I'd like to get him approved for part-time facility officer.
Okay, did you guys see that application that
I'll
you
move
sent?
to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mark, second by Dale to approve the 144 request for, you say it was Mark?
James Isaacs.
James Isaacs, Community Corrections employee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay. IT Department, Michael King. Michael, what have you got for us today?
Two quick things. One, to make you aware, we've been getting targeted a lot more lately with denial of the service tax, so I've been having to reset the firewall more often. Just cost of doing business, being what we are and how much internet traffic we've got and all that stuff, but sometimes it means, like today, I had to reset the firewall in the middle of the day, so our internet bounced in the middle of the day, so just one of those things. But you know, just the way the internet world is today, just one of those things to be aware of. So so main thing is I got the health quotes for the computers. Second page of the packet that I sent to everybody. It says health department quotes. The best quote that I got was from Dell for $618 per machine for 6 machines. Came out to a total of $3,708. Not only was it the best price per machine, it was actually the best machine. It was an i5 10th generation Intel machine with 16 gigs of RAM, whereas everybody else quoted the same processor, but it was 8 gigs of RAM for a more expensive machine. $130 more expensive from the one supplier, and $220 more expensive for the other supplier. So I want to get those approved so I can get those ordered and get those machines replaced. Their machines down in the health department, some of them are 7, 8 years old. A couple of them I think are as old as 9 years old for a couple of machines down there. that we just kept limping along. So,
Okay, are we square as far as the different grants down there go, that this,
yeah, this is coming out of their grant funds.
yeah, and this is the right grant, and,
Joe Lisa found 2 grants that they've got funds in that we can pull these out of, including additional funds for some monitors. The other thing that I sent, the wind records quote that was part of that packet, they do not have funding yet for that, so that's off the table for the moment. I may come back for the next meeting for that. That's that first page, until they can find the grant funds for that.
We have the funds, but we emailed for approval.
Yeah, the approval or the where we can get that pulled from, but it's just a matter of making sure that we can get that taken care of. But they still need that downstairs, but until we can get that approval and all that, but they've got the money where they can pull it from for the computers right now.
okay, so what we would approve today is not the entire package,
Just the computers themselves.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Just the 3708.
And then later on,
Like 2 weeks from now, if they've gotten the approval back for that grant thing for the wind records, if they can get that approved from the state or whoever they need to get approval from on that grant thing to use those funds for that, then I'll be back to get the approval for that.
okay,
Because that's a separate thing. That's not their computers themselves. That's a database thing for receiving and keeping track of other stuff, so.
all right. Okay,
But the 3,708 is in the budget through the grants to pay for this.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve it.
I'll second it.
okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Mark to approve the request for buying the computer equipment for the health department. Is there any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Do you have anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay, thanks very much.
Yep.
Health Department, Matt Shirk.
Has some more items along the same lines. I think through some of our grants, we budgeted money, had money available to do some upgrades to the office. Basically just maintenance such as painting and repairing the floors. I think Mary sent a letter or info to you, Jane. Did you get that? Did they
Yeah,
get
that's
that?
what Dale's looking at.
Basically, she had got up appraisals to do painting in the office. The office hasn't been painted since the courthouse was built. It's looking pretty bad. And through these, some of the grant money that came with the testing and the vaccinations, we did budget in some money to do some of those improvements. So, and that was approved. We did get email approval from the state to use these funds for that. So wanted to see if we could get approval from you guys to go ahead with some office upgrades or maintenance or whatever. I'm not sure how it's defined.
So the state's paying for that?
It's the grants, the COVID grants is where I believe where the money's coming out of. So Joe Lisa stays on top of that for me. So.
Okay, is all involved in this now satisfied that we're compliant?
Mm-hmm.
on
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. We did get an email back from the state saying it was fine.
And that will include painting of the walls, stripping and repolishing the floors?
Yeah.
And was there anything else?
No, it just as far as the walls goes, just sanding and prepping any holes and stuff like that, and painting the walls, and then just the floors are haven't been touched since it was built, so just, that's it.
Okay.
But anything, as far as moving forward with anything, and make sure through Joe, Lisa, Dane, and everybody that it's correct, done correctly.
There's 14,000 in other services. That's what you're paying, right? Other services?
Right.
Yeah, there's like 14,000 between the two
Yeah.
COVID grants.
Every time we had a grant, I did allocate some money for office maintenance and stuff like that. So I put money back because I knew we needed to do some maintenance and some upgrades.
In the last 12 months, the health department has gotten so many grants, it's getting hard to keep track of them for me.
Well, I'm gonna hit you with another one here in about a minute. So-
Is that right?
So,
Well,
came in yesterday at 4 o'clock. I got a email yesterday at 4 o'clock from the State Department of Health. Just wanting to know if we have interest in continuing the testing that we're doing now, the COVID testing, which we're doing in the parking lot. And they have a grant available to pay us to continue that through December, from July to December, and it's $50,000. So I wanted to also ask you guys for approval to submit the letter of interest on that we would be interested in continuing that. It won't change, we won't have to add any additional services, it's basically just continue what we're doing now. I do believe they are going to they will at some point in time close the testing site down at the Armory. I know they're going through May, but I haven't heard anything after that. So that would make us the only testing site in the county.
well, I think it's reasonable to assume that your testing numbers are no doubt down right now.
Yes.
But it's reasonable to assume that come September, October, November, you're going to be busier, for sure.
It depends on who starts requiring it. At this point in time, we see the numbers continue to go down. I can't foresee for sure what'll happen, but there's always the possibility that some schools require testing before students come back or stuff like that. But typically through schools, and they do their own programs. I'm talking about colleges and stuff like that. They do their own testing where they send them a kit and stuff like that. But it's hard to tell how busy we'll be in the future. Like I said, right now we're not busy with it, so we're getting just a few per day. So it really makes a lot of sense for us to say yes, we want to take that 50,000 because we will continue. Though I'm going to continue the testing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday during our regular hours, and then Saturday we've been doing 9 to 12, and that's done by Kelly, who's our contract employee.
Yeah, okay,
Or Mary. Mary will fill in when Kelly's not available.
okay. You fellas look this thing over. What do you want? What's your pleasure?
All of this comes out of the grant money. I'll move to approve it.
Okay, we've got a motion from Dale. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
A second by Mark to approve the bid proposals for the painting and renovation of the health department offices that he submitted here. Any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. And if you heard Matt just explain the opportunity to extend the COVID testing grant till the end of the year, including another $50,000. Do you want to maintain our testing facility to the end of the year?
So I'll move to approve it.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Dale, second by Mark, to approve the submission of the letter of interest for the next COVID testing grant amounting to $50,000, and this will take us through, you say December 31st of this year?
Yes, December 31st, 2021.
Okay. All right. Any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane.
All right.
Matt, do you have anything else?
That's it, sir.
Okay.
Like for this 50,000, I have to do an additional budget for it, so, I mean, obviously I put most of it just in the salary position to pay for the tester, but then, I can also use it for any office. I mean, if I need to do any office maintenance or any other expenses, or anything like that, we can put it in there, so we'll work on, the budget with it and go over with Jane and Jolie to get it all set up, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Matt. Next up, the Area Planning Commission Director, Bill McDaniel.
I know that both Mark and Munson are familiar with much of this. I had a chance to speak with Dale last Tuesday, the day after the public hearing. Now, I just want to preface with that, City Council last night, it was just a presentation, see if the members of the board the council had any questions. And it's my recommendation to them before that they run it that way to see what the county commissioners will do, whether they will adopt it as is or any amendments, because it's primarily affects out in the county. I'd like to go ahead and then have the commissioners decide what they're going to do before the city council acts. And now, just one thing before we get going with any questions is that there's a window of time for the county commissioners to act. So if you have questions that we can't answer today, or there's some things that you need to mull over, you do not need to act on as far as approving the ordinance right now. But I guess starting with that, if there's any questions any of the actual members have, like me to start with, because I know there's a lot of information I provided.
Well, speaking for myself, Bill, there is a lot of material there. I haven't had time to go through it all yet. I wasn't involved, not being a member of the APC, I wasn't involved in this piece of work. But do I understand correctly, the commissioners have a 90-day period?
Yes, there's a 90 days to act, because it's
Okay.
that's kind of, you might say it's the opposite of a pocket veto, so you have to act. If you fail to act, then it goes into effect as presented. So this gives you a chance not to have to make a rushed decision. And the other aspect of that is that the other side of that is it doesn't let legislative bodies to try to push something off over, to ignore it and hope it goes away.
Okay. Well, for the sake of the newspaper and the people that listen to these meetings at home, I'd like to ask the county attorney to explain the process of this this ordinance proposal with time frames and such, and any recommendations you might have.
Sure. We were able at any point within a 90-day window when it was certified to us from the Area Planning Commission to essentially have, as Mr. McDaniel stated, a hearing and make a decision on it within that 90-day window. We will have to give notice. I've given Jane information on what needs to be contained in that notice. We have to give notice of that hearing. And then that's when you guys make a determination. I would very strongly recommend that that we do that, give you guys enough time to be able to get through the information. I think I wouldn't wait the 90 days just because you don't want something to happen. So I would probably look at the 45-day window, maybe the second meeting in June, to have essentially this on the agenda, and that's when you can discuss it.
I think the second meeting in June would be probably a good idea, because I'm going to, of course, it's, 2 weeks out, it's the 4 days later, I'm gone for about a week and a half. I get back and it's the after Memorial Day. So that would give time then for any questions that you may have to both for, that you have for Jeff and that you also have for myself, from me. And as always is, all anybody has to do is if they have questions, they want to talk, they just got to let me know and set up a time to do it. But I think maybe one thing for particularly Dale Strong, since you weren't there, Commissioner Strong, is that the decision to, and for those that were actually there that presented, that were actually supported the animal agriculture, there's still a sentiment that it still should be a special exception, and then for have the public the opportunity to comment on something such as confined feeding operation. So that in itself was a unanimous vote to amend it, the proposed ordinance to make it a special exception rather than a permitted use by right. It was a 6-2 vote to forward the favorable recommendation on what we've presented, what we prepared for, sent forward into the commissioners. Okay, the other thing that came up, and no doubt that people are going to ask you about, and it came up with the whole thing about the eliminating the basically the point system and then the standard for the water, and it came out with that over the last 2 years, but that one of the problems is that it was the ordinance with the rules are meant to make it difficult to just go anywhere. It was meant to force anybody who wanted to establish a confined feeding operation into really identifying as close as you could possibly come to an ideal spot in Fayette County. And we came to understanding after those hearings that basically the requirement that we had there under the water study was an unattainable standard. And there's no way with the language that was in there that this study has to be on a part of either a hydrologist, an engineer who deals with hydrology, that assure that there wasn't going to be a drawdown on the water table. There's no way it could be that. It came out at one of the hearings that either an opponent stated that, admitted that, well, you're right, there's no way it can really actually be met. And the test statement was also to, well, it's in there now, but you got the opportunity to change it. So it's so that's why that's there. And with the map I provided, now when you look at the actual map, this was after the commissioners in 2011, amended the ordinance. It was forwarded from the Area Plan Commission. So what you see is the yellow dots with the red circle around them. Those were a quarter mile. The commissioners at that time, they increased the setback an additional 300 feet. So that's the black circle around it. Now, what has been proposed is that the areas themselves, when you see let's say the larger red circles, the pink circles, the blue circles, then like I said, then also the large red circles, those are potentially increase the area that's available to look at, potentially as a confined feeding operation. I think if you look down the south part of the county, even when all that is removed, and then particularly when you take into consideration the terrain and the, particularly the upland areas with water availability, is that, my opinion is it's highly unlikely that someone would actually be looking at to put in that type of a confined feeding operation down in the south part of the county. As you can see looking at the map, it's almost impossible, it's very difficult to find a place that's even a quarter mile if you wanted to build a house down there. So it would be very difficult to do that, and then there's also issues when it comes to some, some of the roads down the south part of the county. So that's basically my take, my interpretation of that map. But as I said, do you have questions on the map? You have questions on anything else? You, of course, included was the not only the staff report, but you also have the PowerPoint presentation that was from an opponent. There's a letter from another local resident, and there were 4 emails, and then there's the list of the people that actually signed in that were there, and then we have then at the back, so if you wanted to look back, some of the comments to familiarize yourself with the old ordinance. I think that's probably also be a good thing to do. And then you'll start getting into it, is then when you start looking at the point system, you'll see what some of the problems are in the point system. And I think that it just makes it overly difficult, if not impossible.
Yeah, well, we don't have all that material laying right in front of us right now, Bill, but I'm sure as I study it, I'll have questions, and I'll forward to you or to Dale or whoever else may be appropriate. I got one question here. When does our 90-day period start? Okay,
it started with the certification at the public hearing when it was voted to set forward the favorable recommendation. So that 90-day window started on, excuse me, on Monday the 26th.
Monday the
April 26th, yes.
April 26th?
Yep, that was the hearing. That's when it was certified and voted upon.
Okay, that doesn't sound fair, because you just now delivered this to us today.
Like I said, it is from the date of the certification. So if you have the 90 days, well, you're just losing this is 1 week.
Okay.
So there's sufficient time, I think, really to go through.
I wanted to be clear on that.
Yep.
Okay.
And undoubtedly is that you are going to have people contact you, no doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like I said, then as you start getting questions and comments, people coming in, that might be another time to then ask questions of myself and Mr. Westman.
Okay. Well, fellas, what do you want to do? You want to officially receive the proposed ordinance 2021-05 and for study and consideration?
I think we ought to table it until we're meeting on June the 2nd, or the second meeting in June.
June 15th.
Second.
June 15th?
And that way we have time to study it.
Okay. We have a motion by Mark, second by Dale, to table ordinance number 2021-05 until our second meeting in June, which will be June
15th.
June 15th. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, James. Thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you. And as with, once again, as my job with this, as is Mr. Westland's, is, we're staff and we're to help give you advice and answer any questions that you have.
Okay,
All right?
all right, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
I hear that Holly's under a time constraint. Could we bring Holly up? Holly Dunn is here to promote the Protect Your Family campaign, and would you like to have something to share with us, Holly?
Sure, and I'll be quick, I promise.
Okay.
So I am with Communities That Care, and the grant that I worked under this year, we've really focused on 3 parts, and you guys have the little card in here, and I can give you guys cards. But basically, we just want to really promote to the community that you want to remove the risk. So if you have prescription medications in your house, it doesn't matter if it's blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine, or like an opioid. If you can lock it up, it removes the risk of it getting in the wrong hands. And as a community, unfortunately, we've experienced that, we had some youth here in the fall that took whatever they could get their hands on and had terrible reactions, and 6 youth were air flighted out. A blood pressure pill to us is not a big deal, but to a 12-year-old it is. And so we want really 3 parts. We want you to, if you have medications in your house, lock it up. And we have been giving these out to the community. They're really kind of heavy-duty ones. And well, actually, I believe it's May 21st. I don't know for sure that they're having the fair out here in the parking lot. We will be passing those out. Yep, May 21st. We have a table, and while supplies last, we'll share those with you. The other part is getting medications out of your house. And so if you have medications that you're no longer on, I feel like probably Dale could speak to this because of all the time in EMS, a lot of times people have an interaction. So if you take, say, a benzodiazepine, which a lot of people know is like Xanax or a nerve pill, if you take that in at the same time as you take a pain pill, it's actually can be deadly, and it should never be prescribed unless your patient is on hospice and knows that they could die. And so what we have seen is people will hold on to, say, pain pills or those nerve pills for a day when things aren't like you're not feeling well, and then not realizing that it's a deadly combination, and take them together, and then you have an accidental poisoning. So we're just really encouraging all of Fayette County that if you have medications that you're no longer taking, that you just get them out of your house. And through this campaign, I'm really happy to share that you can now, you've always been able to drop them off at the police station and at the sheriff's office. Now, here in just a matter of weeks, we will have a permanent box in Fountain Place Apartments, a permanent box at Turtle Creek Apartments, and a permanent box at the Senior Center, so that wherever people are, it's just becoming the norm that if you're no longer taking it, you want to get it out of your house. And then the other place is Miller Moster Robbins, because through a lot of community outreach, we've learned people, have loved ones that pass away, and they don't always know what to do with those medications. And so get them out of the house. And now Fayette County, the police department, specifically Robbie Fee, is going to come and empty those boxes out regularly. And then they have an on-site incinerator, and they will be incinerating on-site, so we don't have to keep them. We don't have to keep them for specific drug take-back days. We can get rid of them right away. And so the third piece was Prime for Life, and that's just education. And we've been really hitting the community on just kind of being aware of our life choices and where they lead us. That can mean, I'm diabetic. I'm very open about it, and just the choices I make, how it shortens our life, or can it expand our life. And we want Fayette County residents to live as long and healthy as possible. And right now, we are not. We're dying at 6 years younger than elsewhere in the state. So part of that is the accidental poisoning that we have here in Fayette County. So I think that was the big thing. We did do a drug take back on the National Drug Take Back Day. We got 75 pounds, And then we had probably another 25 pounds of testing supplies for diabetes that we're able to donate for an international missions trip. And yeah, so you have any questions?
Now, I heard all this when you were over at the senior center last
Oh,
month,
yeah.
or at our last monthly meeting. So, has the drop box arrived yet for the senior center?
You know, it should this week. Like, I
Okay.
mean, they are 185 pounds. They're made out of steel and they're like bolted to the floor. So they're not going to go anywhere, but they do take a minute for them to make. And so, at last I checked, it should be this week, first part of next week.
Okay. You guys got any questions for Holly?
Do those boxes have to be inside, or are they made that they can be set outside?
We think for safety, they should be inside. I would like to say that we could put them throughout the community outside, but I think for just to not tempt people, they need to be located indoors. With that said, Dale, we do have the funding to put them some other places. So if you know of anyone that would want a drug take-back box, we are glad to place it. So anything that comes to mind, you just let me know.
I will.
The drugstore would be a good place to put them, wouldn't they?
I'm sorry, what?
A drugstore would be a good place to put them.
Absolutely. They answer to higher authorities than the local people. And so we've asked here locally. My big pie in the sky was Walmart. Like, I wanted one at Walmart, and it's not that they have said no. It's just, it's got to run up a bigger food chain than here locally. I mean, we've had conversations with George's. I've had conversations with all of the funeral homes. I think it just makes sense that, I mean, you can like return those medications and not, like, a lot of people don't feel comfortable going into the police station or the sheriff's office. Even, you know, law-abiding people still don't feel comfortable going in there. So, any other ideas? I'm giving you shirts, and we have some other loot that we're going to give to all of the county employees, and I'm going to aim to hit the city as well. But again, on that May 21st, we will be out in the parking lot, and we had 100 of these lock boxes at, you know, $30-some a piece. We had a good chunk of money invested in lock boxes. We have shirts, and I'm glad to sign people up for classes again in June. So. But thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for bumping me up the.
Well, thank you for the shirt.
Thanks for coming.
Did you guys get your shirts? Yeah, I see you. You got it there, okay.
And I'll be back tonight, so I'm sure I'll see you guys again. Some of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move back to the highway department. Jay Havlin. Jay, what all have you got for us today?
Want the good news or bad news?
I only want good news.
Well, we are out patching holes.
That's good. There's,
I had everybody out today before the rain started. I told them, don't stay out in the rain, get soaked and get sick, because I don't need anybody sick. But they were still working at it because it was coming and going just enough. And I had the old broom up there, because we haven't got the parts for the other one yet. Up there on 600, cleaning that road off where it was messed up. We're just sweeping it over the side right now. If anybody says anything to you, Dale, it's leaving a pile of gravel about this tall. So we'll come back and get it. So we wanted to see what the road actually looked like after we got rid of all the excess gravel. But that, I had the brush cutter out today, so we're trying to see if it's going to be working right. We've had some problems with it.
well, won't be long. The new growth will be reaching out where we need it.
Yep. We're still waiting on our truck to come back from Southeastern. Remember I told you it blowed that tank up?
Yeah.
They haven't been able to get a tank. They're waiting on a tank. They said it should be here tomorrow. But that's been 3 weeks, so what are you gonna do?
Okay, you got anything else?
Yeah, I got this today. I want to give it to you and let you tell me how you want to proceed on it. It's from Frontier. They cut a line last year, I think it was October, out on 375. It was marked, there was a mark on one side of the road showing where a line was supposed to be. The line they cut was in the middle of the road. And there was another line on the other side past it, and those weren't marked. We run into this all the time, because I don't know what they're doing, but they can't seem to find all the lines they want to mark.
Okay, this says the damage occurred at 2444 East, County Road 375 South.
That's where we put them double cans in out there to stop that water from washing across that road and washing to the other side. We just run it to the other side because it had to make a 90-degree curve to come back down to the ditch, and it couldn't make it. It was flooding the road every time it rained hard.
There's the cable, now you cut the cable, right?
We cut the phone line, yeah, they cut the middle one.
But it wasn't located.
No,
Well, that's improper location, I would say. I
we've
think
told
we'll
them that
have
before,
our
they don't
lawyer
seem to care about it.
address there.
We find that when we go to try to ditch alongside the road, it's supposed to be 30 inches down, and a lot of times we'll hit it, just scooping, just barely scraping the top of the ground, we'll hit the lines.
Well, you know, out here on Base Road, they're going back to the, whatever it is out there. There's 5 cables laying in that thing
Oh, yeah.
right there. I guarantee you, they won't locate all 5 of them.
Okay, this happened while you was replacing a can?
Well, while we was putting 2 new cans in, there wasn't a can there to start with. That's why we had it located, make sure everything was at, because we knew there was a gas line there, and the city water was there for everything. So we
Okay.
didn't want to hit none of that stuff.
So you had the locators come in and locate everything they could find?
They marked, they located the water and marked it, and marked the gas, and marked the lines for the phone on the other side of the road. And that's the only lines they put on for it, because I talked to the crew that was out there. They said after they found the first one and didn't hit it, they moved over to start face digging, and they dug and got the second one right up there off the back.
It's improper location. That's all I want, Jimmy.
So the locator didn't find it when they went out?
Yeah, I don't know what the problem is.
The locators will run wild if you got more than one cable.
Oh, is that it?
Yep.
And then they ought to put that down on the road so you know it, so you be more careful.
They gonna tell you that.
Well, this bill's for $905.90 to repair the cable. That's not gonna break us up, but there is a principle involved here.
There's gonna be another one.
Yeah.
We did a can up above Harrisburg, across
Why don't we,
225.
now on, have somebody present when you dig?
Yeah, they took pictures of the one up above Harrisburg, because they located the road, marked 2 lines, and there was 3 of them, and they hit the one they didn't have located. What are you gonna do? I mean, they're trying to be careful as they can, but when you got them teeth on the end of that bucket, if it finds a line, it's gonna tear it too.
Okay, so on this second incident, there was another cable
That just happened here last week.
that the locator didn't find.
Yep. And I've asked all the guys that have been putting the cans in, they said they most of the time they don't hit them. But every now and then you'll hit one, nothing you can do about it if it's not marked.
Doesn't that fall back to the locate company?
It should.
I think we should fall back to them before it falls back on us.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we pay those guys to locate that stuff, and if they don't locate it, we get bills like this. Have we ever tried going back on the locator?
No, we've never tried that. Not that I know of. Unless they done it while I was off.
No. Well, we can't be the only ones that's had experience like this.
I wouldn't think so. I can check some of the other counties and see what they're saying about it. See if they're having the same problems we're having.
Well, what do you guys want to do?
I think we need to go back onto the locate company.
Yeah, because we need to locate the cable.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Looks like the consensus is try giving this bill to the locator, or at least find out what their process is for handling claims like this. Where if they tell us there's not a cable there, we need to be able to take their word for it. There's nothing there, you know,
Okay.
before we dig.
I can go back on them and see what they say.
Okay. See where this goes.
Do you take pictures before they start digging?
I'm gonna have to get a camera and let them start taking pictures. I tell them
You
to
got
use
your
their
phone?
phone, and half the time I can't get them back onto my computer where I can get a picture. But my camera, I can do that.
Yeah.
I had to put a locator on my camera so I could find it every time I loaned it out.
Well, I guess in order to protect yourself, that probably ought to just be standard procedure from now on. Just take a full load of pictures before a shovel goes
Especially
in
if
the
they
ground.
find any lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got anything else?
I've been nosing around looking at hoop buildings, just out of curiosity to see what they run. I checked that guy over in Mcdaniel over in Rushville. He's not bad on his price, and I got a quote from another one. I'm just out of curiosity. I want to see how much it's going to cost to put one up. If we put it on them big blocks, they can get over IMI, raise the sides up, put our equipment in for wintertime. They're pretty reasonable right now. The one he got me was a little over 21, which ain't bad for 100 by 36. But I want to get some other opinions first before I do any more checking.
The space that we're using off the fair board up there, 14 acres, is that not enough?
Well, it's enough, but we went up there this year to check them, and the old paper had a flat tire. Somebody had stepped on the valve stem, I pulled the valve stem out of the tire, and ran that calcium all over the ground up there. But it's the biodegradable calcium, so it didn't hurt anything.
Yeah. Okay. We don't get too carried away.
No.
We want to save some money, do some chip and seal and some paving.
So we got that all set back to the side. We're not going to touch that.
Okay. Now, by the way, I guess now is as good a time as any to mention it. We recently were awarded the full $1 million community crossings grant for this year. So it looks like all the work we had planned for 550 West and 450 East is going to be a go. I haven't heard anything from Butler Fairman yet. We will soon. Jane, have you heard anything from them yet? Okay, so that will be, if everything goes right, that should be another 11 and a half miles.
Yep.
Will get paved through the community crossings grant program, besides what your department is able to do this year. So
Hopefully we get everything lined out and get going. We don't have any problems.
yeah.
I don't want another like last year. Try to use something that falls apart on you.
Yeah. Now, did you see the recent email exchange between Mark Davis and I about the Centos?
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay. Well, I thought that I included you on that. He did provide a final after you guys adjusted what you need from them and what you don't, and taking into consideration their different rates for this year compared to last year. He provided a side-by-side comparison of the contract we have now and the contract, what the contract would look like if it's renewed in June. So there is quite a bit of, save quite a bit of money. Do you have any objection? Do you have any more concerns with Centos that you want to get taken care of before our current contract expires?
I don't have any problems with them. The biggest problem was some of the guys had problems with some of the clothes they was getting. But according to all of them, they've got it pretty well lined out.
Yeah.
We get the shirt thing lined out and we're good to go. We'll all be the same kind of shirts.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll follow up on that with you, but I think if I remember right, our current contract expires next month,
1st of June, I think, isn't it?
June 1st. I'd have to
First.
check on that, but I was thinking June.
I think that's what I was told was 1st of June or somewhere around there.
So he's taken all the information you provided for him on.
Yeah, we haven't switched anything out yet because we're waiting until they get a contract signed and we get everything switched out.
Yeah, okay. Well, if it's June 1st, then maybe we might get this taken care of yet this month. If not, then June, first meeting in June. So if you're okay with it, I'll not mess with it anymore.
We're good with it.
Okay. All right.
Anything else?
No?
You sure?
I'll think of something, then I'll have to call you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bill Mackey. Bill, do you have anything for us today? Okay. Mail. Anybody got anything under mail? I didn't see Dave Rickman come in back there. Dave Rickman from the animal shelters here. Dave, you did have anything for us today?
Well, I didn't talk to Jane, but only thing I got to say is I like to try to take off the 12, 13, 14 of next week. Me and my wife, we had our 30th anniversary was in March, and we're just finally getting where we take off.
You need time off, huh?
I'm not saying nothing else, Mark, on that part. But if I do, see, whenever I did take some time off, a little bit, in the afternoon or something, I would stay around the county close, just in case she needed something to happen, Alicia. But she's done really good on stuff, and she does call me, if she's got questions, so that's no big deal. But on them days, nobody will be up there from 8 o'clock till about 1:30, 2 o'clock. And she's done pretty good so far. She's hanging in real good on her schooling and all that, her intern and all that she's done.
Repeat those dates again.
The 12th, 13th, and the 14th.
Okay.
That'd be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Thursday and Friday
Yeah.
next week.
And that's her week to be on duty, so then after hour calls will be covered except until, from 8 to 2. Want you to know that and make sure it's okay with you guys.
It's fine with me.
I have no objection, but I know that every now and then a guy just needs some days off,
You sure you're up to it now?
I'm ready. I'm just ready to get away for a few days, The last time I got away from the county or the state was about 2 years ago. Whenever I took the dog, if you remember, I took the dog all the way out to California.
Oh, yeah?
That was not a vacation. That was just out and back. Over 5,000 miles on that week. So we just want to go do something nice,
Okay, and your assistant will be available from
2 o'clock until she goes back up to her intern.
Okay, something like 2 to 10 or 2 to 9 or
She'll be there. Well, she's at the shop at the building from 2 to 10.
okay.
From 10 to 7, because she got to leave to go up to her intern school. So
Is
she's
it
on
2 to
duty.
10 or 10 to 7?
I guess I'm next.
Well-
It's from 2 to 10.
Okay, here's what I'm getting at. Just of those days, we want to be able to, if calls come in, want to know why the shelter's not open during the day, we want to be able to tell someone when she will be there.
Yeah, she'll be there from 2 to 10, up there at the shop.
Okay.
Then after it closes, she's on duty until from 10 to 7
Okay,
for after hour calls.
okay. This is only going to be for the 12th, 13th, and 14th
Yes.
of May.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, as soon as you leave town, we'll probably get a call wanting to know why you're not there, so.
Well, I'll let the dispatch know. I'll let them all know before I leave. Let them know that, nobody be up there at that time.
Okay.
We're still moving along pretty good. Our dogs that had the pups, they're all 10 of them, they've been adopted to good homes and everything. So, we hadn't had no complaints about that. I did pick up a dog up in town, and so I ran our scanner across it. Come to find out, this dog came up on a missing from Shelbyville County. And so I called over there at Shelbyville, and they told me who was the owner and all that, plus the chip finder did. And so we got the people back together with their dog and everything. So, I'm happy with that we found somebody's dog after 3 months from being stolen and all that.
Well, those are always happy
Yeah.
stories. Somebody can find a pet that's lost,
Yeah. You don't hear a whole lot of that. We always hear more of the negative than anything, But, that's all I got.
Okay. All right.
You guys got any questions?
No?
Enjoy your vacation. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Mail, did you guys have anything, mailboxes you need
No.
to share? Okay. Old business. You got anything under old business?
Nope.
Let me look at my notes here. There's one thing I want,
Jenny's got.
I'm sorry, I was asking Jay if that needed to be, like if you needed a motion to approve that.
I told you not to let me forget anything.
That's why I spoke up.
Yeah. You guys get a copy of this?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got, just back up here, Jay provided a copy of the 2020 annual highway report. And we either need to approve it or not approve it. So I'm assured that everything's in order. You wanna?
I'll move to approve it.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Mark, second by Dale, to approve the annual operation report for the County Highway Department. Any further question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. We'll sign it when we start on the claims here, Jay. Do you need to take that back to the office
Yeah,
with you?
she'll email it to the paper. She'll send it in from down there.
Okay, all right. And is there anything else before I talk to these guys? Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, if I forget anything, you let me know. Under old business, there was something I intended to talk to you guys about. About a year and a half ago, we had a couple of appraisals done on a lot down the street here, 305 Central. I talked to the owners here recently, and since those appraisals are now a year and a half old, and they think they're outdated, which probably are. And I just wanted to ask you guys if you had any interest in getting them updated. And that might possibly facilitate some movement on that project. Don't know, so.
I'll move to update the proposals and see how we come out. I'm sure there's been a change in value because
Yeah.
of what's been going on.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Property values do change over a year and a half, I guess. We'll see what comes out of it. We have a motion and a second, or a motion by Mark, second by Dale to renew or have updated a couple of appraisals on 305 Central that we had done a year and a half ago. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Another thing, this probably ought to be under new business. I didn't have anything else on old business, do you guys? Okay, under new business, I know you saw the email about the DLZ wanting to make a proposal. Did you see that, Mark?
I ain't sure.
Well, DLZ has completed this floor plan for the dollar store, and they've asked for a joint session between us and the council on May the 19th. And I know where everybody's going to be on May the 19th except for you.
I'll be here.
Would you? Yeah, would you be available on
Yeah.
about 4:30 in the afternoon on May
Yeah.
the 19th?
May
Okay.
19th?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll, if you guys are in agreement, we'll inform the council and advertise a special joint session for May the 19th at 4:30 right here, and let them make that presentation. Okay. And that's all I had.
I'll move to approve claims and payroll.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mark, second by Dale, to approve claims and payroll. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right.
business? I'm to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion by Mark, second by Dale to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Three
Aye.
ayes. Motion adjourned. Thank you.